Welcome back, everyone. So we're going to go over the brew day for my 2018 version of the Chinook IPA. If you've been following my channel for a little bit, I did brew this a couple years ago. Usually for 4th of July, I have a couple beers going, and this is one of the first ones that I did brew, and the whole keg was gone. The first time I brewed this was from a kit from Northern Brewer, but the recipe's pretty easy. This will be a short brew day, but definitely one if you like IPAs to try out. Chinook is kind of a spicy IPA, so make sure you like that kind of hop. So the grain bill for this, pretty easy, 3 ingredients I guess for the grains, so we'll go over them. The 2-row is 90.9%. Again, this is a 5-gallon batch. Then for Cara 8, that is 6.8% of the grain bill, and Caramel 120L is 2.3% of the grain bill. Now, just like in the last one, in the raspberry one, I do give you the percents and not the pounds, just because your system might be different than mine. If you did watch my raspberry ale brew day, as I said in that, my mega pot boils about 1.5 gallons an hour, so I might have to add more grains than you just to get the ABV to come out at the same. So for the mash in, we are going to use about 4 gallons of water. Looking at Beersmith, it wanted 4.06 gallons of water, but obviously good luck trying to get 4.06 gallons of water heated up and in the mash tun. Now this is a 60-minute mash. We're going to mash at 152 for that hour. Again, this is a pretty short brew day. It's not anything complicated. There's only a couple hop additions, so nothing that big that we have to worry about here. I think what I'm going to do, though, my temp was a little bit hot. You can kind of see it, maybe. It was raining out, but it was still hot and muggy, so my temperature once I got everything in the mash was a little bit high. But again, like I always say, I would rather go on the high side than the low side, because at least you can use ice cubes or a little bit of cold water to cool it down, instead of, you know, starting your burner back up, heating up some water, or going to the stove and heating up some water and waiting for all that. So we're just gonna make sure all the grains are incorporated in the water and we don't have any dough balls. Obviously, if you're gonna underlet like this, let it, let that water fill up in that mash tun. Don't stir as you're going. So we are at the end of the mash out. We'll go ahead and see how we're doing here. I do like to take a reading just to make sure we're still in that 152 range. You never know if something happened in there, so you just want to check to make sure that your temp did stay around there. If it falls 1 or 2 degrees, this is home brewing, not that big of a deal. So for the Vlorov, usually what I do is 3 to 4 pitchers just to get it running clearly. Then I will start putting it into my kettle. I don't know what I was doing here. As you can see, it did stop. I don't know if I was playing with the ball valve or what. You shouldn't get a stuck sparge on this. There's not wheat or anything that's gonna mess you up in there. If we look at it, my first runnings did come out to 17 bricks. It is very cloudy, and I'm not sure why. I did not go back and look at my brew day the first time, but it almost looks like a New England IPA. And again, there's no oats or wheat or anything like that that would turn it that cloudy of a color. So we are getting ready for the mash out. I did put my water in there, stir it up just to get it going. Trying to get as much sugar out of these grains that's left in there as we can, and then we'll put the lid back on there 15 minutes. Then we can do our second vlor off. Again, for the mash out, make sure you let it sit 15 minutes or so just to get it going. We are adding hotter water, 168, 170, somewhere in there. Then our second runnings came out at 10:25. So we did collect all our wort, or all our liquid for the boil. I was at 8 gallons. I wish I was a tiny bit higher, 8.5, somewhere in there, but we'll go ahead and do what we have. So our pre-boil was almost 10 bricks, about a 1040. So that's pretty good. And this is an hour boil. And for the hops, we're going to use 1 ounce of Chinook at 60 minutes, then 0.5 at 10 minutes, then 0.5 at 1 minute. So again, pretty easy to make this beer. I wouldn't call it a smash beer, but it's close. I mean, the amount of grains that you're using, obviously it's almost all 2-row. And then for the dry hopping, if I can find it, I'm pretty sure 1 ounce of Chinook for 3 to 5 days. I'll let you guys decide on that. I do want to do a video on dry hopping, how long you should go, when you should do it. For the dry hopping, right when fermentation's about ready to end, so you still see some bubbles coming up, is when you want to put that dry hop addition in. We are using California Ale WLP001 for this. I didn't make a starter, I just threw it in there, and we'll see how it goes. So my post boil gravity was 1048, or 12 bricks, and Beersmith called for 1053, and this is what I was talking about as why I give the percentages, because this is the same one that I did 2 years ago in Brew in the Bag, but I'm pretty sure my gravity was higher. And that's just because my boil off rate is more, and I didn't add more grain. I just bought a 10-pound bag of 2-row at my local homebrew shop, and that's what I put in there. I probably will up this next time. I think Beersmith wanted this to finish at 5.4 ABV, so I was a little bit low, but I think adding a pound and a half more of 2-row will get this where it is. So as I said, short brew day, nothing really exciting about this. Cooled it down, pitched the yeast, and we're all set. So thank you for joining me, and until next time, happy brewing. If you like this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button and thumbs up, and check out some of our other videos.